Hello everyone, my name is Michael and I am speaking to you from the verse. Now if you're not sure what the verse is, I encourage you to go to my website at rewritingtheverse.com, and that's where you can check out all the information there is about the verse, as well as look at the written updates, and all of the YouTube channel videos are on there as well, so you can get caught up on all the information. Now this video is specifically connected to this upcoming new moon in Pisces on February 22nd, 2020. Because of all the twos in that date, it is a significant power day and portal. It is indeed a portal. So what I have been doing over the last several months is utilizing my past life regression and rewrite abilities to help us move through these portals powerfully, utilizing twin flame and divine masculine, divine feminine energies to do so. So really quickly, I am a past life regressionist and I am able to rewrite timelines. What this means is, once I finish looking at a timeline, I can then go back with my guide's assistance and figure out the perfect place to intervene in that timeline to actually create a higher level outcome. And by doing so, it not only heals that timeline back then at a higher level, but it comes through to this timeline and heals it right here at the same time. And so it's extremely powerful. And because I'm utilizing the twin flame energies, these rewrites are really moving us quickly through the ascension process, actually. All these different powerful astrological dates and portals that I've been working with specifically since at least August of 2019, I've been consciously working with them, has definitely helped our acceleration up through these portals and vibrationally continuing to take us through the ascension process. So tonight I have actually already completed a past life regression. So in this full-length video, I will share with you the details about what I saw and what ultimately I saw what needed to change and be rewritten, but I have not put that into place yet. I have found that that seems to be a very powerful thing to do live here on the video at the end of the sharing of the past life. We'll do it together. You'll get to find out, as I do, in the moment of what shifts in that timeline and how it's impacting our current timeline in the moment. So that will happen towards the end of this video, so please stick around for that. Also, just so you know, I do offer these services on an individual and group level. So if you do have any interest in past life regressions, go to the website again, rewritingtheverse.com, and that's where you can find all the information of the services I offer and book a private session. So I think that's a good place to get started. So I'm going to go ahead and today, the date today is February 20th, 2020. Another powerful day. I did not do a separate video for this date, but I'm not surprised that even though I've been trying to do this rewrite for a couple days, it did not fully open until tonight. So we're probably utilizing the energy of this day to help us create this new vibration. So what they showed me first is, well, actually the first thing I do is I ask about how far in the past, how many years in the past are we looking at? And this is approximately 5,000 years old. So that's approximately 3000 BC. By the way, I do want to actually acknowledge that my throat is extremely raspy again tonight. This has been going on for a couple weeks now. I believe part of the ascension process, my body's going through some changes, and I'm hoping this will, I'll sound more like myself hopefully next time around. But for now, hopefully I'll get through this without coughing, and so you can hopefully understand me. Okay, so we're looking at 3000 BC. And one of the things about this, I'll just give you an upfront warning, this particular timeline is very much in the elemental, enchanted forest realm. We're not going to be dealing with any humans in this particular past life. And so I hope you like that type of thing, because that's where we're going to stay throughout this entire past life. So the first thing I'm shown is a young man. Well, he wasn't really a man. Let's just start off. He wasn't a man. He looked like a man. He had the build of a probably a 17-year-old or so adult male, human looking. And I saw him actually from the back. He was actually looking into the entrance, basically a dark hole really, of this really, really ancient forest. Really dark, really creepy. And so that's the very first thing I see, is him kind of standing right here looking in, thinking about if this is a good enough idea to walk in there. The other thing that stood out about him was he was dressed very much like, you know, Disney's version of Peter Pan, you know, the green outfit and the tights and shoes and kind of and such. And then his hair was blonde from what I could see, kind of scruffy, but blonde. And he's basically about to walk into this really dark forest. I mean, the trees, even though this is the outside of all the trees, you can see how gnarly all the limbs and branches are, and twisted and dark. I mean, it's just foreboding. I mean, you can't even see very far into it. That's how dark it is in there. And you can just feel it's extremely heavy energy. And so, I mean, he's looking at it. He's clearly going to go into it, but he's taking a minute here to see, or try to see, what he's about to walk into. Now, he doesn't really have any like weapons or anything like that. He's certainly not, you know, prepared for battle necessarily. But in he goes. He walks in. And so basically I kind of follow him as he walks through. It's so dark in there. There's no light getting through that canopy at all, as far as there is sunlight out there, but it's not getting through. Not even little rays are getting through that dark canopy. He works his way through. I actually see the trees, at least some of them, excreting what looks like tar. Kind of smells like tar too, so I'm just assuming that is kind of what it is. And ultimately it does gather to the point where it creates some sort of little stream of tar through the forest. So really dark energy, very negative energy. And eventually he comes to, I don't even really know how to describe it, this huge opening that leads down, subterranean. I mean, it's massive. It's like dirt and whatever growth kind of coming up, and then just then going down. And ultimately it really, what I kind of see it as an image is like a huge wound, a huge gaping wound, and all that tar, everything really dark. And that's apparently where he needs to go. He needs to go down in there. So here I'll give you a little bit more information of what they showed me that happened before what they showed me him standing outside the forest. Why on earth he would be going in there to begin with. So there's a unicorn. Okay. There's a unicorn. And that's ultimately who's trapped down there. And that's why it's his friend. That's why he's going to go down and try to save it. But there's way more to it than that. So this young man, I never did get a name for him. Actually, I think I just call him Peter. was going to call him Peter just because he looks like Peter Pan. Let's call him Peter. Peter is not human. And Peter isn't even, he looks kind of like a cross between what we would think of as an elf, at least like the Lord of the Rings elves, like a full-grown male looking elf with the pointed ears or whatever, not the little short ones or whatever. And like a mix between that and a fairy. And the reason he looks like this is not because he is a earth being. He actually is an energetic being that has taken on that form, I think mainly because he experienced the fairy and elf realms when he came to Earth. He's actually, like I said, more of an energetic or an elemental being. And he has traveled throughout space and time, really, in search of something. That's what I got. He was constantly in search of something that even he wasn't sure exactly what he was in search of. It just was a constant urge to keep moving on. Even if he came to a planet like Earth, he would experience whatever the culture was, take on the form of something that would fit in a little bit with the whatever creatures or beings that were there, interact. He definitely was telepathic, so it didn't matter where he was. He was able to communicate with whoever and whatever was where he was at. And he might even stay for a while. But there was always that urge to keep on moving, keep searching. There was something missing that he was in search of, always, always. And I get that he was millions of years old. I'm not sure how many millions. Very old. So even though he looks like he's 17, he's an ancient soul. So don't let the outer figure look, Peter Pan look, fool ya. He's very ancient and very wise. But he had a youthful personality, though, I'd say that. So anyway, he had come to Earth. And what I saw was as he was kind of traveling in to the solar system, first time he'd ever been through the solar system. I mean, he can travel, I think, at various speeds. He can probably teleport anywhere he wants at any point in time. I mean, but this time he's traveling through the solar system for the first time. And what drew him to Earth specifically was once he came within the solar system, or at least close enough, he could feel something energetically about Earth, or at least something on Earth. And what's interesting is, even though others may not have been able to see this, he saw a shadow surrounding the planet. Could barely see the actual blue and green and whatever colors. He actually could see more of the shadow around it, which if it wasn't for whatever he was being pulled towards, he probably wouldn't have even bothered to stop. Now, I don't necessarily, he wasn't looking for shadow energy, right? But he felt something very positive being emitted from there. So he decided to stop. And that's when he found the unicorn. He was being pulled towards its pure, very pure energy. And he was very pure as well. So he instantly created a connection with this unicorn that was amazing. They were like, best buddies or whatever. And it was a white unicorn, the typical, what you think of when you think of a unicorn. And if there were other unicorns on the planet, they weren't there. It was pretty much that one unicorn. And they immediately, became, like I said, friends, spent time together. I mean, I even see him, like at nighttime, the unicorn would, I guess, lay down or whatever in the field, and he would just like put his arms behind his head and lean up against the unicorn, and they'd both look up at the stars and, just hanging out, doing unicorn stuff. I don't know. So And actually later they do show that even that unicorn is not bound to that form. It absolutely has the same abilities to teleport and travel and change forms. So, but for the most part, it pretty much stays in that unicorn form. And so he stays for quite a while, longer than most places, because he's got this connection. And eventually, he's feeling that need to search again. You know, there's still something that he's missing. As great as this unicorn is, this is not ultimately, apparently, what he's been searching for all this time. So, but he doesn't want to leave his friend. So he asks his unicorn friend, which is a female, by the way, if she would please come with him. Apparently he does realize that she can travel with him and whatever. And this is the first time they have this type of conversation. She says, oh, you know, that is such a great offer, basically. You know, I really wish I could. That would be amazing. But I can't leave her. So he's like, you can't leave who? Right? Like, this is the first mention of her or anybody, really. I mean, he had met, like I said, the fairy folk and stuff. This is one of the reasons he chose the form that he did. But she hadn't mentioned anybody in particular up until that point. And she was talking about Gaia. Gaia being planet Earth. So what I want to explain to people, if you're not aware of it, is that planets, stars, everything has a soul. So yes, you know, Earth appears to be a bunch of dirt and trees and, you know, what we see at the globe. But oh, she has a soul, all right. She is an entity. She is a being. And that's who this unicorn was talking about. Again, I didn't get anybody's names. Well, the unicorn. We'll just stick with that. And Peter. We've named him Peter. That's who she was talking about. She did not feel like she could leave Gaia. And now she goes on to explain how sad Gaia is. Very, very wounded Gaia is. It's been a very tough existence for her over millions of years, right? She's millions of years old as well. And that she just doesn't feel like she can leave her. Hold on one second. I'm gonna get a drink. So as they're talking about this, he's getting a better understanding. Okay, that's interesting. You know, and don't really think they talk about it too much more at that moment, but the more he feels like he needs to go, you know, he does bring it up a few more times. And at this point, they're either having a conversation, because again, they're telepathic. They don't have to be standing right next to each other to have these conversations. He actually does have wings, which I don't see when he's first standing there by that entrance of that forest, but he does have wings. They actually kind of appear very transparent wings, which I don't even think he needs the wings to fly, because he's really not even a fairy or an elf, but it just kind of comes with the form. So I see him actually kind of flying around up above, just kind of enjoying himself, and the unicorn's down here out talking. They're having this conversation again, and all of a sudden, and again, she's still saying no, she doesn't feel like she can go. All of a sudden, literally the earth opens up beneath her. The grassy field or whatever she's on, literally like a sinkhole, crumbles underneath her, and the unicorn falls into the darkness. And as soon as she falls through, the earth comes back into, like, you would never know what just happened. Oh, this was shocking. Yeah, that just happened. So, fortunately, because they're telepathic, she can communicate to him that she's okay. And she's able to tell him to go to this forest because that's, at least in that area, the only place that he can really enter through to be able to find her. That is why he's in the forest. That is why he's about to climb into this festering wound of a hole. Not knowing what he's going to find below, but he's definitely going down there to find his friend and get her out of there. So he's able to, fly down the hole. So he's not having to climb anything. And actually, he can see from the very top, he can see magma all the way down there. So he's not, he knows he's actually going that deep into the earth to the level where there's magma. So he gets down there, and his unicorn friend is there and standing on a rocky area. It's not, the unicorn isn't in distress or anything. In fact, she's trying to reassure him that, nope, don't worry, I'm okay. I'll explain a little bit more. And he kind of gets over next to her and lands, but she didn't really have time to explain. And I'm sorry, this is really out there for people that are not open to this kind of conversation. Probably lost you a while ago. Anyway, but once again, this is elemental beings that are absolutely able to transform and manipulate matter. Okay, so all of a sudden that magma is really starting to, it was already boiling and whatever it would normally do anyway, but it ultimately becomes like a tsunami-sized wave of lava threatening to come down on him and the unicorn, actually. And the unicorn tells him, as long as you're standing next to me, she won't hurt you, because you'd be afraid to hurt me. So you're safe as long as you're right next to me. So don't panic or whatever. Because it is literally maybe even a couple 100 feet high, that wall. It's almost up to the ceiling of that cavern. Massive wall of magma. So he's basically just standing there, and they're both waiting to see what's going to happen. And then the wall kind of slowly comes down. And once it comes down, you can kind of see the other side of the magma too. Again, there's another like rocky area over there. And now he sees a woman. Okay. So, just so you know, this is Gaia. The whole planet is Gaia, but again, being able to shapeshift and everything, this is also Gaia. All right, only now she's more in a human-looking form. Again, she's not human. She's not human. But just like he is and the unicorn is, she is a energetic being. And this is one of her forms that, especially seeing him probably in a more human-looking form, she decides to present that way. So she's standing over there on that side. And what's interesting, both I'm just going to call her Gaia. So Gaia and Peter are looking at each other, both of them kind of like, huh? And they both turn their head. Like somebody that's puzzled, but trying to get a better, huh? Like that, huh? That's exactly, they both did it at the same time. Because both of them were pretty much surprised to see another humanish looking figure down there, right? And then after, a few moments of that curiosity, she walks, floats, whatever you want to call it, across the magma. And he's standing perfectly still. He's not, I thought this is very ironic actually, that he travels through space and time at a whim. And now he's the one that's having to stand still while she travels, I don't know, 100 yards or whatever towards him. I just thought, I don't know, there's something poetic about that, right? Okay. So she's coming across the lava, finally gets to the rock surface, and is now not very far away from him, maybe 15, 20 yards now. And again, everybody's telepathic. So nobody's speaking, they're all on the same wavelength. And but they're not really talking at this point. It's actually pretty silent. They're just looking at each other. Now, he is aware. In fact, when she was over there, once she was, I guess, let down the wall of magma, long enough for, him to be aware of her at that level, his heart started to beat faster, whatever heart he had, right? This was what he had been searching for. He knew it. He just knew it instantaneously. It was her. It just, immediately he knew. So he's like, whatever he's feeling, he's aware. He is aware. The problem is, she has no clue. Well, actually, I take that back. She does have a clue, but she stuffs it so far down, she doesn't want to consider it. But at this point, she's curious. She doesn't have the recognition yet, but now she's closer. Probably has never seen anybody quite like him. And ultimately, what I got was that they don't see. Okay, yes, they do see the physical. Okay, he looks like Peter Pan. She looks like whatever, kind of like a princess in a way. But that's not really. They could see beyond that and see the light resonance of the other and the vibration of the other. So they actually really could see a whole lot more than what we can. All right? Okay. So even when she gets on the rock, she's still kind of looking at him like, he's just staring at her. But she doesn't take her eyes off of him either. She's not looking at the unicorn. She continues to float/walk up to him. And he actually extends a hand to her. And without really, I think she was kind of in a trance too in all of this. She probably would have never taken anybody else's hand. But something just had her reach out and take his hand. And the moment their hands came together, the cavern was gone. And all there was open space. I mean, stars, nebulas. That space, probably the deepest, oldest, ancient space. What I got was, this was in the early stages where even galaxies were being formed. How many billions or trillions, or I don't know how long ago that may have been in time, quote unquote, but it was not, it wasn't recent, and it wasn't anywhere near where they were. And the unicorn was there too, in whatever energy. So the three of them were actually there, but certainly not in the forms that they were on Earth. And what I got was, he could, they could all see, but I think I was seeing through his vantage point, that all three of them were galaxies. Probably in the formation form as well. So, at this point, as it's showing itself to me even, I'm like, wow, you know, if you're a whole planet like planet Earth, you know, you think you're kind of pretty special, right? I mean, you're huge, physically huge. But to be an entire galaxy. So it would be like, you know, if you've done any kind of spiritual work and you come to that understanding that you are not just this little being, this physical body for one thing, but that your soul is, this is such a small fraction of who you really are, of your light body, of your light being. When you start to get really present to how huge in magnitude you are, it's very awe-inspiring. Well, imagine now, you think you're pretty cool being a planet, and now you realize you're a whole galaxy. How that actually overwhelmed her. Now, he saw this too, and whether he realized he was the galaxy or not, I don't necessarily think he already knew that, but he was at, hey, cool, we're a galaxy, you know. It didn't throw him. Even the unicorn was like, you know, totally there. But however long that took, it may have been actually a split second of holding his hand. But it was enough for her to understand that she was way more. And he was way more than she had ever imagined. So it probably only was maybe a split second that they held hands when she ripped her hand away, which brought them back into the cavern. And she looked at him. And it's interesting because I could see, or she could see, the stars and the nebula still in his eyes as he was, you know, coming back into that form kind of thing. Now, one thing about her eyes, that they were pretty much black, very dark anyway. From the moment he first saw her, they were dark. So I don't think he saw any stars in her eyes, or maybe he did, I don't know. But his eyes were like a lighter color. But anyway, there's those stars still, nebulous, still floating there from, that they were really there. Wherever that was, whatever time that was, they were there. And even though there was a part of her, actually, here's the thing, okay, about the eye color. Her eye color was dark. But in that split second after the hands, and she was like caught off guard, overwhelmed by it all, her eyes did get lighter in color. There was a moment there of recognition of who he was, Unicorn 2, but who she was. For a moment there, her eyes got lighter. And she kind of, again, this is all probably only seconds, but that's all it took. Just a few seconds of seeing beyond the veil, basically. That when her eyes went dark again, well, that was all she could take. That moment, I'm going to say the word vulnerability, actually, is what was coming to me right now. That moment where her eyes were getting lighter, and she was maybe becoming more of who she really is. She was vulnerable in that moment, but oh no. Vulnerability was not something she was okay with. She hadn't been okay with that for a very long time. So her eyes went dark again, and she backed away, floated away, back across the magma. And it's already starting to boil again. Okay? So I'm going to interject here. They showed me that Gaia wasn't always that way. That Gaia, what I'm getting or sensed is that there was either a father figure, either an actual father, which I don't think so, because I really don't think he had. Well, if he did have, yes, he was some sort of a being, a higher level being, but I really get that he was not more powerful than she was. In fact, he knew that she had more power, and he manipulated her. So let's just try to, in a nutshell, say that he encouraged her to become what we know as Earth. And that she agreed to, but really she was, I'm going to say outright, lied to about what was going to happen. What I understand about Gaia is she is a master creator. She is a creator god or a creator whatever. And that is what she is, pure creation. And in offering this position to be in this solar system, to be this beautiful, blue, gorgeous planet, that it was somehow going to be an opportunity to really be the creator that she was always meant to be. It was like a great opportunity to come in and be that, and to be a whole planet that's going to play a very important role in the future. Yes, a lot of these things that we're living out now were a part of the plan, but a lot of it was not. And I think this being that got her to agree to come in and be the soul within this planet, I think they knew very well that she was going to be used and abused, and that somehow they were going to gain from it. So it's very, I'll just say that Gaia has been through so much. Humans, yes, humans have done a lot of crud that have hurt her, because being a creator, she's all about life. So when life dies or life is painful, she feels it. Absolutely. But a lot of things have happened on this planet that are not necessarily associated with humans, because, well, this has been millions of years that she's been here. So there have been lots of other beings here, lots of wars fought here that we don't have record of, and some that we do. As we know, continents have sank because of wars. Those kinds of things absolutely torture her. So over her time here, it's been extremely difficult, and she's been misused and abused repeatedly, to the point that 5,000 years ago, we see how jaded she is, how absolutely shut down she is, that even her twin flame, again, this is a twin flame reading. This is her divine masculine. She's the divine feminine. And yet, she can't be with it. For those few seconds of recognition, it absolutely overwhelmed her, because it absolutely threw in the face of her existence, of being a victim, of being tortured, of being everything, that she could possibly be that powerful, that big, and also have this amazing counterpart that is just as amazing. And even a unicorn friend that we now know is also there, right? So I will say one thing here before I forget. The unicorn is actually definitely a part of their connection. I talked about trinities many months ago now. And so I encourage you to go back to some of my earlier writings and videos that are specific to the trinities, because they do tend to incarnate together. And so that unicorn was actually their third component of their trinity. So even though this is all about the twin flame connection between those two, the fact that the Trinity has shown up very powerfully in this particular timeline lets me know that it's time to bring the Trinities back into the conversation, at least for this video. So go to rewritingtheverse.com if you want to find out more about the Trinity dynamics. But Gaia and Peter are absolute twin flames. And we're now seeing that they were very well together, at least at the beginning stages of the galaxies coming together. There really is no time. Time's an illusion anyway. But if you want to reference time, there is no time where twin flames did not exist. It's just a matter of what form they're in and how physically connected, because they're always connected, no matter how far apart physically they may be. So, yes, so now full on dark eyes again. She's now gone back across the lava, and it is starting to really, she's enraged. She's enraged. That's all I can say. It's just absolute rage. And it's about to blow. It's almost like a volcano about to go off. That's when Peter pretty much just reaches out and touches the unicorn on the neck, and they both teleport out of there. It's clear to both of them it is not safe to be there, even for the unicorn. Even if she wasn't trying to hurt the unicorn, somebody was probably going to get hurt. So they both teleported out. Okay. So now they're somewhere up on the surface again, and they're talking about what just happened, but there's earthquakes now. You can feel the earth rumbling, and it's not just there. Well, I guarantee you this was felt around the planet. And they have a very quick discussion about, not that the unicorn's ever seen her at this level before, but she's very concerned that she's about to blow. And if she blows, all the creatures on this planet, which did include humans at that time as well, but all of them could possibly die. If she goes absolutely off the charts with the earthquakes and the whatever, there will be so much destruction. So I believe it was the unicorn's suggestion that he leave, and that she will do her best to try to calm her. But maybe the best thing would be for him to leave and, probably not come back. Because clearly, look at her response. Does this look like somebody that's open for a twin flame connection? Does it look like there's any hope that she could ever let him in? Not based on what they saw that day. So in the end, as much as he did not want to leave, because he knows who she is now. There's no question this is what he's been searching for his whole existence. Millions of years. He has been searching for Gaia. Well, he does end up leaving. He teleports out of there, actually, and he goes to a whole nother galaxy to get as far away as possible. As much as he wanted to stay, there was that concern that, so much death could occur and destruction could occur. So I guess, what I saw was that is ultimately what he chose to do, and did stay away for 5,000 years. He hasn't been back. What I got, though, so that's the end of the first version. So for 5,000 years, he has stayed away, and Gaia has been here, still very much in emotional and whatever pain, rage. But what I did get, hold on. No, okay, that's part of the rewrite. Sorry. So ultimately, yes, that's how it ended. And they had not physically seen each other since. But did they feel each other that entire time? Absolutely. Even Gaia could not turn that off. She could still feel him. Wherever he was, it didn't matter. Again, the twin flame connection cannot be severed. It may be forgotten, but she can't forget him now. She hasn't forgotten him for 5,000 years, and he has certainly not forgotten her. And it's been very, very difficult to stay away. Okay, that's the end of the first version. Now we're about to start the rewrite. They have already shown me what needs to change. I have already looked a little bit at how that changes things. And that today is absolutely a significant day. So, let me get another drink. So I've seen a little bit about what's going to happen after the rewrite, but not all of it. So I'll be sharing with you whatever comes in. So now what I was shown, what would be the most powerful point to change the storyline and have a higher level outcome, was for him not to leave. You know, he had that discussion. He's there on the surface with the unicorn having this discussion. And yeah, he didn't want to leave. Of course he didn't want to leave. But did he know that she absolutely needed time? Yeah. I think that was very obvious. So this time he does teleport. He does teleport. Only this time he teleports right back into that cavern. Right back to the spot he was standing in. Only this time the unicorn wasn't there. He wanted to have this just be between him and Gaia. And she, you know, he wasn't there physically in there anymore, so you know, there wasn't necessarily the wall of lava and everything, but were things boiling and definitely still very hot down there? Absolutely. But he could see her on the other side, on that other landmass over there. And he had this exchange with her. Basically, okay, this is part of the rewrite right now, because as I'm speaking what I'm seeing, this is actually going to start to be put in place. So the energy may start to shift here pretty quickly as I do this. Okay. So, basically what he came there to say was that he knows who she is. And whether she wants to admit it or not, she knows who he is. But he knows that it's not something that she's ready to deal with right now. But he's not leaving. He's not leaving her. Never again, basically, is what he said. I'm never, ever going to let you be completely gone out of my life. But I do respect, basically, that you need time. So, I won't come down here, you know, into the cavern again, unless you ask me to. But I'm going to stay up on the surface or here in whatever form, you know, whatever form. But he was not going to leave completely. And when she's ready, whatever she needs to do, he'll be here. Now, did that melt her heart at all? No. She's still enraged, okay, so, but was that still heard at some level and recorded for later consideration? Yes, it was. So he took, you know, one last look at her, Saw that, not just her, that human-looking version of her, but that beautiful light of hers, although there is shadow around it. He did see that the first time too, by the way. Even though you could see the light there, that beautiful being, yes, there's shadow around it. In fact, that shadow around her, the planet, when he first arrived, was actually probably from her, rather than even something dark from the outside. It was her trying to hide from any more abuse, any more, right? So he teleported out of there, and he stayed on the surface, and he and the unicorn continued to exist together. But he never left planet Earth. He's still here. He's still here. And what I got was that today, right now, as we're about to do this, she's ready. This is why. This is why it had to happen today. It needed to happen on a 2 day. You know, this is a portal day. It is. I just didn't do a separate video for it. This is probably why. Because this video needed to be recorded this day. My understanding is that in the 5,000 years since, she has had to face a lot of her own demons, if you want to call them that, but her own pain and her own everything that she was buried under, including facing that father figure. She had to deal with that directly, that he had abused her in some way, misused her, whatever, lied to her. And only then, when she healed that, it wasn't even necessarily about working things out with him, it was just about her finding her power again and not being the victim anymore. Did that free her up to now be able to relate and start up something new? I mean, this is really going to be brand new tonight. You really got to get that. 5,000 years, they have not really communicated in any significant way, her and Peter. He's been here the whole time, but she needed this amount of time apparently to work through her stuff. But now she's ready. So him saying that means right now she's about to request him to return, for him to return. And by doing so, that begins their twin flame journey forward. Their divine masculine, divine feminine journey forward. It's time. And when she requests him to come, that is when I will rewrite it in time immediately. She's about to let me know. Gaia is about to let me know that she's ready. She's going to extend the invitation. There's a lot of energy behind this. This is going to affect the entire planet. All the beings on it, I'm not just talking a human, are going to be positively impacted by this, because Gaia will finally be with her twin flame. And they can co-create together. Because guess who's another creator? He is. And together they will create so much more than either of them could have done independently. So this is major. Okay? Okay, she just extended the invitation. And he's responding yes. And he is coming to her. So I'm just going to rewrite this right now. The invitation has been extended and accepted. Oh man, I can feel that energy. Oof. And that's being rewritten right now. That is 5,000 years ago. And the union's happening right now, though, because of that change 5,000 years ago. Wow. Sorry, there's a lot of energy still going. I'm trying to get a sense because I'm actually picking up on right now how it's impacting things, because they were kind of changing it back there. Yes, it changed overall. He didn't leave, but we still had to wait 5,000 years to kind of find out how this is going to unfold now. What the energy is right now, because they're together right now. Teleport. They're together right now. He's back in that chamber, magma place. They're both on the same rock that he was always standing on. But neither one of them are in physical form right now. Whatever form they were up until a few minutes ago, right now they are just pure light. Pure twin flame energy. Divine masculine, divine feminine. And they're merging. They're merging. Emerging. I feel peace right now. Wow. So much peace. So much peace. Just hit me right now. Because this is the way it was always meant to be. Separation. It is an illusion, but it is such a hard illusion to overcome. Most of us never even come close to feeling this kind of union. But it exists. Wow. I can say I didn't know that Gaia had gone through so much. I mean, I know, yes, she'd been taken advantage of a lot and physically abused a lot, but I had no clue until tonight how much and how deep those wounds were. Well, there's still so much energy flowing through me right now. And I'm sure at some level everybody around the planet is feeling this, whether they're aware of it or not. I'm sure that the planet and all the beings on it, all, trees, nature, everything, everybody is feeling this peace. So really happy for her, for them, for us, because this is a template again of union, of twin flames coming together in healthy relationships, because so much of the past type of twin flame connections are just wrought with problems. But once again, another very powerful, peaceful relationship has transpired. Wow. I'm trying to think about whatever, I will be, by the way, doing a short highlights video after this and talking about, the big takeaway at the end here, and I'm trying to put it into words, what I'm experiencing. I keep being shown that just his willingness to wait. That doesn't mean he didn't live life for the last 5,000 years and he didn't sit on a rock the whole time. But he was that committed to her that he waited and he stayed. He stayed. He wouldn't leave her side, even if she was pushing him away. That level of love. That's a twin flame. That's a twin flame. Because anybody else, I said, fine, I'm out of here, right? And would have never turned back. She gave him no hope at all. But twin flame love is different. Well, I will put the link to the highlights below. So the highlight video below, so you can watch that. And wow, thanks for being here with me. I'm still the energy is super high right now. I'm having a hard time really putting into words what I'm experiencing, but it's really, really positive and very peaceful. And boy, thanks for being here with me on this ride. If you made it this far, thank you. Please like, share, and subscribe to let me know that this is something that you're enjoying, or whatever you want to say in the comments. I'd love to hear. But please let me know if this is something you're interested in and help the channel grow. I really would appreciate it. And I appreciate you staying with me this long. And have an amazing day, night. And I will see you soon. Peace and joy.